After years of relentless chronic stress, endless digital noise, and the lingering weight of post pandemic exhaustion, something powerful is shifting. People are finally recognizing burnout for what it really is, not just being tired, but a full system dysregulation that locks the nervous system in a chronic fight or flight mode. That constant low hum leaves us emotionally numb, cynical, disconnected, and far less effective than we used to be. Today, we're stepping into the growing movement that's calling for a deep emotional repair alongside physical recovery. Because true healing happens when we stop pushing through and start listening to what our bodies and hearts have been begging us all along. In this episode, we'll explore what kinds of intentional restoration really looks like without rushing or glossing over the hard parts. We'll move beyond the quick fixes into the kind of rest and reconnection that actually rebuilds resilience, joy, and aliveness from the inside out. So settle in, take a deep breath, and let's get this party started tonight on Thursday Night Live. Okay, you're supposed to work. Okay, so it is totally not cooperating, not creating any stress in my body or my life, even though I'm pushing the buttons correctly, not happening. Anyway, hi, I'm Dr. Rita Louise, and welcome to Thursday Night Live. And today we are going to be talking about radical self-care. Now, if you have tuned into this show for a while, there are many things that I'm going to talk about that we have not discussed that we have discussed before. And then there are going to be some things that are going to be new, or I will kind of put in a different little twist on it. But I really wanted to talk about some practices that we can bring into our lives to help calm the body down, because it really is true. Everybody is living in this layer of stress and layer of anxiety that keeps us from really relaxing. And the only thing we can really do is kind of zone out and try to navigate the world with the best we can. And it's not really fun. It's not really fun. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is physical support. And so when we are in a chronic fight or flight state, usually that means our adrenal glands are being activated and they are releasing cortisol into the body. And so while there are a lot of techniques that you can do to help calm the body down, which we'll talk about, but one of the things that I really like to suggest to people, especially if they're finding that it's becoming overwhelming and really interfering with their lives, is to take some physical action. And when I mean physical action, I'm talking about working with some kind of herbs and supplements to support the adrenal glands. Because when we support the adrenal glands, it's not like taking a medication. It's not like taking a pill that just masks the symptoms. What an adrenal support formula does is it nurtures the adrenal glands and gives them what they want and what they need so that they can thrive and be healthy. And so if you go on Amazon, there are tons of different adrenal support products that you can get. And I do want to make one specific clarification. So there are herbal and vitamin adrenal supports, and then there are also glandular adrenal supports. And so if the list of ingredients include a glandular, and usually it's porcine adrenal gland, which means you're getting pig parts, without getting some kind of testing done or without working with a health provider like myself, I would avoid those because they are actually giving you hormone. It's like taking a thyroid pill. That thyroid pill is giving you thyroid hormone. And so taking a supplement like that, especially if you are just, taking it willy-nilly or take it for a very long period of time, can interrupt your adrenal gland's ability to work for themselves. So that is my one word of caution. But things like ginseng or ashwagandha or B vitamins or licorice root or holy basil are all herbs that will support and nourish the adrenal glands. And again, you go online and there are combinations that include different things in there that can give you a broader and wider coverage for supporting your stress health. But one of the other things that you can do, we live in such a digital age, and, you hear people say it, but I'm going to say it out loud again, maybe take a tech detox. We can become so addicted to our screen time, and we have to look for the next like on Facebook or, what the next post on Twitter is. And we get all wrapped up in what's going on. And so maybe it's time to turn off your devices, turn off the TV, and just have some quiet alone time. Be with people, go out and listen to the birds sing, but sans electronics, and just allow your body to discharge from that ongoing EMF vibration that you are putting into yourself, and just give your emotions a chance to take a break. Something that I talk about on this show a lot is the idea of mindfulness. And mindfulness is about paying attention to what you're thinking. Am I thinking happy thoughts? Am I thinking negative thoughts? Is my brain going crazy trying to solve a problem? So it might not be negative, but it might be in this ongoing thinking place. And sometimes when we are mindfulness and we have bad brain, and I know we've talked about bad brain on this show, when you intervene in there by being mindful of your brain, it can help you avoid escalation in your stress response. So said another way, it will calm down your fight and flight mechanism. Something that a lot of people like to do is to do journaling, where you just get a notebook and write about your day, write about how you're feeling, maybe ask yourself some pointed questions, well, why am I feeling this way? Or what can I do to shift what's going on in my life? I find that technique is very relaxing, very meditative, and it gives you the opportunity to kind of unload onto a piece of paper and not to somebody else. Getting those those coloring books, so maybe get some crayons, get some color pencils, and just spend time coloring. It is just a low mental activity that causes you to have to focus and keep your mind on this thing. And it is like journaling, like mindfulness, a meditative technique. Breathing, just being conscious about your breathing, or doing box breathing. And so box breathing is you breathe in for 4, hold it for 4, exhale for 4, and hold it for 4. So the exhale for 4. And you just do that in a box-like fashion. So do 8 or 10 box breaths, and you could do that throughout the course of the day. And that will also help to calm your body down and to help it re-regulate better. Going and doing some grounding, get outside, hug a tree, walk through the grass, listen to the birds, focus on something that is happening out there, can all be very grounding to the body and the psyche. Getting in some gentle movement, maybe some yoga, or go out and take a walk. If you like something a little more invigorating, maybe go to the gym or go mow the lawn or something like that. But something where there is movement involved can be very relaxing to not only the body, but the psyche as well. But each of these things can help calm dysregulation before it totally hits burnout. So in the past few years, I'm going to start here. In the past few years, the pot has really been stirred and all kinds of stuff. You know, when you have a pot that's been on the stove and there's all this stuff that's stuck to the bottom and you start stirring it and you're stirring it and all of that settled leftover material that was stuck on the bottom starts coming to the surface. And that's kind of what we're in right now because nobody knows what the heck is going on anymore. And instead of things calming down and that material settling back to the bottom, it's like it's every day someone is stirring that pot, causing all of this old material to come up. Now, in one way, that can be a really good thing because this gives us the opportunity to look at what's been stuck to the bottom and gives us the chance to let it go and become a brand new person. On the negative side, it's uncomfortable and can be kind of challenging for us to navigate through this helter-skelter that many of us are feeling right now. But one of the benefits of this is that it is causing us to find our authenticity. It is making us take ownership of who we are and what we want for ourselves and what we want to have in our lives, which brings us to the next point, which is boundaries. And so many times people think of boundaries as, I'm going to put this boundary on you about, you know, like you said this and it bothers me and I don't want to be your friend anymore. That's a boundary. But we can actually use boundaries for emotional repair. We can set a boundary on how much work we do, how much tech time we have, you know, and as well as boundaries on our relationship that prevent resentment and rebuilds a sense of safety and agency in ourselves. But basically, because of that authenticity and ownership, a boundary says, this is what I want, this is what I need. And the boundary says, but you're not doing that, so I need to move you out, or I need to shift this situation so I can feel more comfortable, safer, less stressful inside of my own body. Kind of tied to that is taking some dedicated time off, you know, a burnout retreat to replenish yourself and focus on reconnection and low stimulating activities, you know, like going for that walk, going fishing, going to a park where it's just you time, you know, and these things that I'm suggesting, you know, they're just suggestions. It's really important for you to ask yourself, what can I do? What will help lower my blood pressure and make me feel more calm or make me feel more connected? And own that, because your journey is your journey and my journey is my journey. And then the final thing is go have fun. You know, find pleasure and find joy, because those two things are medicine. It is giving back and refilling those coffers within yourself that have been emptied out through all of this stress-filled time that we've been having. So ask yourself, what do I want? What will bring me joy? What will bring me pleasure? And I think the rest of it will all fall into place all by itself. So I hope that you take this to heart and use this information to help discharge some of the stress and anxiety you might be feeling. And it might not be all in your face. You know, what I've noticed is it's this low level anxiety that many people have right now. And so what can you do to address that so that you can get back to the old normal not this freaking new normal, which really sucks. So that's it for today. So let me make a couple of announcements and we will get started. All right. So if you happen to be watching this show on in a rerun and you want to join the activities, the best place to go is my YouTube channel. That's just Energy Radio on YouTube. That's at Just Energy Radio, 7 p.m. Central. Hit the live link and join the chat. And one of the other things that we have going on, there are some new things you can participate in here. And so if you, all right, that's not working. So if you go to soulhealer.com/live, soulhealer.com/live. So like I'm looking at the number of comments that have already been made. So there are 26, which means there's 26 people or potentially 26 readings in the queue. And if you're down at the bottom of the list and you want to jump the line, go to soulhealer.com/live, fill out the little form, and you would be pushed up to the next person in line. If you have a specific question that you would like to ask me and not just get a general reading like I traditionally do, again, go to soulhealer.com/live, click on the Ask Dr. Rita link and ask away. You can also go there if you want to leave me a little something because you love me and want me to be happy. Anyway, so let's get going. Let's shift over to the comments and we will just get this party started. Wow, Christine, you're number one. Number one. And so she says, hello, may I have a reading number 3, please? And thank you. I'm early today. You are early today. Ooh, you're really early today. I just saw the timestamp on that. And you want a 3. Okay, Christine, let's see. Let's see what the cards have for you today. Oh, and guys, you know, if you're enjoying this show, please like and subscribe it to wherever you are finding this podcast. Okay, Christine, that's your card for today. So, Christine, I think the word I want to use for you is overwhelm. I feel like you feel like the wind is blowing and you're constantly having to do this, like move forward and push to move forward. I feel like things have not been feeling easy right now for you. Maybe a little drowning. I get the impression that you're feeling like time is not on your side, or your stress reaction. Well, I'm going to put it in that format. Your stress reaction is, I don't have enough time to get all of this done. And so if you keep looking at the clock going, oh, I got to hurry, slow down, you know, and give yourself permission to do what you can do in the time you have instead of rushing to make these deadlines that you've created for yourself. I hope that helps. All right. And ERRT Radio's here, and he says, happy Thursday, Dr. Rita. And wow, you have amazing hair again this week. How do you do it? It's a wig, ERRT Radio. That's it. And then he says, may I have a reading number 3, please? And thank you. You sure can. Interesting. And that's your card for today. Okay, ERRT Radio. This is kind of weird, but I'm just going to go with it. But have you just had a situation where you ended up feeling, okay, the word that's coming up is two-faced, but I'm going to change it to a nicer word and say not necessarily in your integrity. I feel like almost like you have guilt about fibbing regarding a situation. I get the impression that you felt it was more important to say what the person needed to hear because you didn't want to hurt their feelings. And I feel like there was an intentionality about the whole thing. So don't beat yourself up, because I don't feel like you were misleading from a place of personal gain or ego, but I feel like it was coming from a place more of compassion on your part, even though it really kind of rubbed you the wrong way. I just get the impression that you couldn't think of a kind way to express how you really felt in that situation. I feel like usually you're pretty good, but in that situation, I felt like there wasn't an easy way. And so this was an easier way of getting around it. Again, I know your integrity is very important to you. And, sometimes a white lie can be a good thing. How's that? Okay, let's see. Unar is here. Hi, Unar. She says, good evening, Dr. Rita and friends. May I have a 1 tonight? A 1. All righty. Uh-oh. You should have went for more. Okay. So that's your card for today. So as you know, this is called a mask card, and it usually means that there is an energy or an emotion that you are in denial about, don't really want to look at, that kind of thing. And I am going to pull cards till I feel it clears. Okay, that's pretty much telling me the same thing. Okay, so I'm just going to go with this card. I'm getting a medium on this card, but then when I started going down, you got like a yucky card, and then the next card after that was giving me kind of the same feeling as this. So I'm just going to go with this. So I get the impression that that there's some emotional energy coming up for you that is a little bit uncomfortable. I feel like in the big picture, it is really good. I feel like there is guidance and insight into what is trying to be revealed. I feel like it is just, again, hard for you to hear it, but I feel like you are on some level seeing its truth. But I just keep getting this impression, but but go over there. And so as I was mentioning earlier about the journaling, maybe that would be a good safe space for you to allow what wants to come up and come out, because that's a big thing is, we have emotions, and the way that we experience trauma is that we repress and suppress the emotional energy. And so having a mechanism of where it can get out can be very healing. And I feel like through that technique, you would be able to kind of look at what is coming up and make a more neutral judgment, neutral assessment, and it wouldn't be as hard. And I feel like you would be able to hear it better. But I feel like the bigger part is that it wants to come up and out. And the quicker you can get it to come out, the faster you're going to be able to move on from it. So stop suppressing, let it emote. Alrighty, that was interesting. So as always, if these readings are resonating with you, I would love to hear your insights. Yvonne says, hi, Dr. Rita, looking great. Can I get a reading number 2? You sure can, Yvonne. Okay, and that's your card for today. So Yvonne, I am getting the impression that you're experiencing some frustration, but it's interesting because I feel like in this frustration, you are in actuality doing some serious dumping at the same time. You know, you just keep showing me this picture of you like throwing stuff out, like you're in a closet and you're just tossing stuff out. It feels very healing in a weird, frustrating, cathartic kind of way. But I really feel like you're lightening your load and, you know, just getting rid of stuff that's really not serving you. I mean, if I use one word, I feel like it's a purging energy, you know, and so purging can be pretty violent, you know, like when we vomit, we're purging. And, but in the end, we always end up feeling better after we do. So be patient with yourself, have that be okay. You know, that's just where you are right now. So no judgment, just be with it and support it and give it permission to move through however it needs to. Hey, Don. Yeah, so I did a show the other day on Sunday with 3 astrologers, which was really interesting because I'm really not an astrologer. I know enough to kind of get myself in trouble, but not like these people that were like, oh, well, this planet here and this node and whatever. But it was kind of fun because, you know, I was just kind of like doing readings, chiming into their astrological reading. It was fun. But Don came. It made me feel so special, Don. You made me smile when you were there. Okay, so he says, hi, Dr. Rita. Could I get a 2 reading? You look great tonight. Thanks, Don. All right, and there's your card for today. So, Don, this is a very interesting card for you. And so I feel like this is very new in the energy to it that you have just recently, and I'm going to say not even this past week, have made this decision. But I feel like you have made the decision to kind of turn a new leaf, to start loving yourself, to be happy, to experience the fullness that life can offer you. I feel like you recognize that it doesn't have to be the way that it was, and it can be something different. And I feel like you have made more of a commitment to yourself into bringing that energy, bringing that dynamic into your life. And it's interesting because it moved from it's a fantasy and it never would happen for me into there's possibilities. And so thank you, Don, for owning the possibilities that you can have happiness in your life. Oh, and Dawn on my webpage, soulhealer.com. And I think I put it under. All right, hang on. I'm going to go look. 1 second. I just want to make sure I sing it in the right place. Articles. I think I put it under healing trauma. Yeah, I put it under healing trauma. I just posted a new article called Are You Healing from Trauma? 6 Signs to Celebrate Your Progress. And so Dawn or anybody that's listening to the show, soulhealer.com, go to the articles. It's in the healing trauma section of the articles, and it's the very first one. I just posted it this past week. I would love for you to visit. Or you can go to my Substack channel at Dr. Rita Louise on Substack because I'm always posting on there. Okay, so Ahora's here. Hello, Dr. Rita. Good to be in your presence, even online. Thanks for the talk. I have your wisdom revelation on number 3. Thank you indeed. Blessings and cheers to you. You sure can. And we're doing a 3. All right, Ahura, let's see what this is going to be for you, but that's your card. Yeah, where do I want to go with you? Let's see. So, Ahura, what you're showing me is that you are trying to make more of an effort of calming yourself down, calming your life down, finding a more balanced and less stress-filled life. I feel like there's some anxiety to wanting to make that commitment to yourself. Like, well, if I do this, am I cutting my nose off in spite of my face? Or is it really going to work? You know, there's some disbelief in that happening or the possibility of that happening. You know, but it's only when you plant a seed, it's only when you make the effort to try something new that new things can ever happen. And so if this is coming up on your radar, if spirit is saying, hey, give it a shot, then give it a shot, because I feel like what's coming up is being more organic to you and more divinely, maybe, communicated to you as far as making this shift. And so I'm just going to say, good job. Keep listening. And again, give yourself permission. I feel like that's one of the things you do a lot is you kind of push yourself along and then maybe bully yourself a little bit. And I feel like now you are trying to allow yourself to get more in the groove of the universe. And I feel like that's a great step. So I want to validate that for you. And Sean Newton's here. Hey, Sean, how's it going? And he says, hey, Rita, been a minute. It sure has, Sean. And then he says, was trying to get my Bluetooth to work. Hey, Rita again. And everyone else. Hey again, Sean. Hey, Chris. How are you? Thanks for coming to the show. Hope you heard the beginning part. And just FYI, I voted today. Just saying. Eva. Hi, Eva. Long time no see. And she says, hi, Rita. Haven't been here for a while. So nice to see you and Happy New Year to you. So nice to see you too, Eva, and Happy New Year. Then ERRT Radio said, great topic, Dr. Rita. Thank you. Oh, you're so welcome. If you do, can I have one, please? Okay, you sure can, Eva. And since you didn't pick a number, I'm going to pick one for you. So just, I mean, so if you did one below, sorry, I'm just picking one for you. I'm going to give you a 2. Uh-oh. Maybe you didn't want it to. Okay, you got a mask card. Ooh, you got a double mask card. So it'll be interesting what you really, 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 really don't want to look at. Okay, so I'm going to go with this card, which was the next one down, but I'm not going to be nice because you got double. Okay. So, Eva, I kind of feel like Spirit's been banging at your door trying to get your attention, and you are just like fighting and struggling and coming up with all kinds of excuses of why you shouldn't jump that little bridge, or why you shouldn't take that little, like let the bridge down and let the new energy into your life. I feel like you are kind of holding yourself back, and it's all right. I'm going to say it's just really not working in the big picture. But I feel like it's also creating a definite level of stress in you. And I know that you know what you should be doing, but you're not doing it. And so I'm just going to say, do it, because they're bugging you to just do it. And I know you know what I mean, because you already know, because they've been telling you for like days to move forward on this thing. So move forward on this thing, and then you can get rid of those nasty mask cards, especially double. Woo. All right. Dawn says, Dr. Rita, joy and happiness is really 2 things that I don't have really anymore. And yes, those 2 things are like medicine. And Dawn, I guess I'm going to disagree. Like, maybe you don't have it right now, joy and happiness right now, but I feel like things are changing for you. And I feel like, maybe it won't be joy and happiness, but I feel like contentment is a good energy. So there's feeling nasty and negative, and then there's feeling content, where it's okay, because if you're content, there's the possibility that you could have joy or you could have happiness going on in your life. But again, it's a process, and I feel like you are moving up the emotional ladder. And one day you're going to say, oh my God, I had a happy day. Oh, and let me say this too. People aren't happy 24/7. They aren't joyful 24/7, even though I seem like I'm joyful 24/7. But trust me, I have moments. And I have times where I'm just not even particularly happy, but I feel like I have more moments at least being content than being miserable. And I feel like you're moving out of that miserable phase and more into that contentment phase, which is it's a good place, Dawn. It's a really good place. All right. So Amy says, hi, Dr. Rita. Not sure how your ask a question on your website fit in, but I sent one in for a specific question for my read tonight. Oops. Sorry, Amy. I'm going to go look right now. Let's see. Oh, stupid computer. Okay. All right. So here's Amy's question. Dr. Rita, please take a look at, please be as specific as possible. I have made arrangements with a realtor to help me sell my house, and I'm looking to stay within my current state. Would appreciate insights, any other helpful messages they might offer. And I'm wondering if there's a finite number of characters, but okay, Amy, let me take a look at that for you. You know, Amy, I'm not getting a. Okay, so I get the impression that you've talked to a realtor. I don't get the impression that you have personally made that decision yet. I feel like you're just kind of playing around with that idea and looking at the pros and cons of the whole situation. I feel like there is some financial concern tied to it. I mean, the biggest thing that I'm feeling is that like maybe you're looking for like a slightly bigger place or a little bit better location. And I'm wondering if there is a price differential between where you are now and what you have now and what you're looking to get. And I feel like that's kind of circulating in the back of your mind. And so I feel like if you can get a better idea of if you know what that price difference is going to be, and if that's something that you can navigate, I feel like that will really help with your decision making process. But again, I don't feel like you've made a decision. But Amy, I do feel like once you decide, you have been quite the manifester, and I don't feel like it will be hard for you to sell and manifest something else new in alignment with what you want and what you're looking for. And if you need clarity or feedback on that, just post down below. Okay. Mike Harris. Hey, Mike. Hello. I just had open heart surgery to replace my aortic valve. I'm wondering if you're getting any vibe. And I'd also like a reading, please. This will be my last visit for a while. So, Mike, you're supposed to use the Ask Dr. Rita form on soulhealer.live to ask that specific question. And I'm so sorry about your heart surgery. So I'm just going to do a 1 for you, Mike. No, I'm not liking that card either. Okay, so this is the card that came up for you. All right, so I'm just going to do this anyway. So, Mike, I just feel like you just had the surgery, and I feel like you're still in recovery mode, so be patient with yourself. I get the impression that they did a good job. Not quite sure why they replaced it. That's a much longer reading than I have the time for here. But I'm not feeling like there's anything bad or that there are going to be complications with that. I do get the impression that they're going to put you on some kind of medication. I also am feeling like there might be some kind of heartbeat irregularity issue. I don't know if that's why they replaced the valve and that's what it's supposed to fix. But that's coming up for me. But as far as the surgery is concerned, I feel like they did a good job. They didn't like leave extra parts inside of you or didn't sew you up incorrectly, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I hope that helps. Next time, go to soulhealer.com/live and fill out the form there. Christine said, thank you. ERRT Radio said, yes, I have had an instance and not negative, just overthinking the situation, a conversation I had with a colleague. Cool. And then Yvonne says, yes, 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 yes. Cool, Yvonne, great. So Gary, I gave you one, but you're good now. And then Dawn says, Dr. Rita, again, thank you. Sunday was great. It was really fun, wasn't it? All right. Unar says, interesting read. Thank you. I like the idea of writing things down. And Unar, I feel like it'll give you the opportunity to look at that thought pattern. You know, a lot of times we just have stuff rumble around in our head. And when we put it on paper, we can make it be more linear and less circular. And we end up not repeating the same thing 50 times. And it gives us a chance to go back and look at what we're thinking. So I think it's really good. Okay. Hey, Terrence. Nice to see you here. Okay. So we have Pearl, first time viewer, stumbled upon tonight. This is great. Pearl, I'm looking at the clock. If you are very quick and would like to get a reading, provide for me a number between 1 and 3, and that's how many times I will shuffle the cards on your behalf and offer you a general reading. Hi, Lynn Marie. And let's see, who is that? Oh, Horace says, thank you again. I am wondering if I should be more passive and low pressure, or it can be fruitful if I start my relief clay project, although any plan is hard and stressful. You know, and maybe the operative word is plan. You know, maybe the plan should be, what do I want to do today? Like, what's today's project? What's going to bring me joy? What's going to alleviate stress? But in a shorter term versus I'm going to do this thing, and which can become overwhelming. Okay. And then Mike says, you may also remember I was having long COVID exhaustion, but when the doctors drained my body of excess fluid before the surgery, the exhaustion went away. Interesting. Very interesting. Eva says, thank you, Rita. Wow, two double mask cards. Yes, I can resonate with the reading. Lots of stress, and I know for what to do next. It's just procrastinating stage with me. My intention was to choose the number. Well, good. Well, then you got what you needed. Eva, address the procrastination because it is being more of a hindrance in your energy space versus giving you any kind of positive benefit at all. At all. He said the valve replacement was pending for years, probably residual from getting sick as a child. Okay. Jeff! Hi, Jeff. It is so nice seeing you here. God. And then Pearl says 3 thanks. Oh, that's your number. Okay, 3. All right, Pearl, what do you got going on? That's your card for today. So, Pearl, I get the impression that there's a decision that you're supposed to be making. I feel like instead of weighing things out or looking at the choices and options, you're just kind of like moving it to the side and avoiding it. I get the impression that every time you start to look at the choice, it becomes overwhelming to you and overwhelming in kind of an emotional way. Okay, so this is going to sound very weird and random, but what they're suggesting to me is that you are going to get your answer. And I'm not saying here, but in something that you see, something that you hear, something that you read will be on point to helping you make the decision that you need to make. And that seems really random to me, but that's what's coming up. So I hope that helps. Okay, let's see. We have Kathy Cuddleback 2042. I'm a first time asking for my okay, so Kathy, I do only, you want a number 2. Okay, so if you have a specific question that you want to ask, I would really need for you to go to Um, soulhealer.com/live and leave a tip. Although there have been a couple of things that have come in. So let me see if come back up. Here we go. Where am I? Okay. So if you have a specific question about a medical advice, or how your question, then you would need to go there and do the Ask Dr. Rita question. But I sure can give you a number 2 reading, which may or may not answer your question. Probably won't, but who knows? Okay. And that's your card for today. Okay, see, you guys mess me up. You do stuff like that, and then it's like I just can't even read. All right, this is Kathy. So, Kathy, when I sit there and I look at your energy, I get the impression that you are doing pretty good with navigating your daughter and her disability. And it's interesting. Okay, I'm going to frame it from this perspective. See, this is why I don't like when you guys do this because... But I just get the impression that you are intuitively listening to what your daughter has to say and what your daughter needs, and you're going by what feels good or what feels right and going from there. So there, Kathy, and I don't mean to jump your shit. I really don't mean to jump your shit, but in this format, you can ask for a number from 1 to 3, but I don't really take personal questions, even though I kind of gave you a personal answer. So if you come back, which I really hope you come back, that's the format. Okay. Oops. All right, Gary, I screwed up. All right, and you wanted a 2. I'm trying to scroll back a little bit. Number 2. All right, Gary, number 2. Sorry. Thought I did. Sorry. It's been a day. It's been a couple of weeks, I have to tell you. Thus, the stress topic. Okay, and that's your card for today. So I get the impression, Gary, that you are in a place where you are really owning your space. I feel like you know where you want to go. You have a clear direction ahead of you. And I'm saying this in a good way, that you kind of have blinders up so that there might be all of these distractions going on around you, but you are not allowing those to interfere with you moving forward. It's just really nice to see this level of clarity. I mean, I feel like it's coming from a inner guidance place, like this is where I need to go and this is where I'm heading, versus from an ego place where it's like, I have to get there and I have to create this thing. It's not coming from that place. And so just be open to it and be open to receiving whatever and wherever it is sending you. Cool. Thanks for calling me on that and make me go back and give you a reading. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. So Amy says, selling first before I buy so I know what financial position is. May rent for a while in new area to see how it feels before committing to a purchase. Not sure where to go is half the problem. See, I would need Amy. I would need a map in front of me. I don't feel like you are wanting to go all that far from you. I do not see you wanting to move to East Tennessee. I see you still like Memphis, Nashville. Like Nashville and West, like further on that side of the state. I feel like it's more in your zen there. And sort of having a map sitting in front of me, it's a little hard to say, but I'm not feeling like all that super far. I'm going to say like within an hour of where you are now. See, now you have my curiosity going. I have to call you and get all the details. So cool. I'm excited. All right, let's see. Okay, so I am down at the bottom of the list here. And Kathy, again, sorry about jumping your case. Anyway, guys, well, we're almost out of time anyway. So if this show has been of value to you, if you learned something from what I covered before, if you felt your reading, provided you some insights, I would really appreciate it if you would go to soulhealer.com/live and leave me a little something in the tip jar. I'd really appreciate it. And it would help keep this show going. And always, please share this show with friends of yours who could use guidance and insight and maybe learn a little something every week. So again, until next time, I'm Dr. Rita Louise. This is Thursday night. Be blessed.